Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Wildlands campaign. Very excited to play today. We come back to our players after some very big events. We lost a member. And we skipped a week, so they've had time to percolate. Hopefully, I think we skipped a week. I can't remember.
Yeah, because it was Rosie's birthday.
Right, it was Rosie's birthday party last week, so there was an even bigger event planned. But let's see. So get back in the Wildlands zone, guys. Forget the troubles of the world for a moment and come back to the troubles of the life or death situations in the D&D campaign that we're all playing. In the Wildlands campaign, you guys engaged in dreadful combat with Nakir, the Dread Rider, the sort of final enemy within the Phantom Gang hideout, where you slew many rogues, including Gordrose the Phantom himself, the nominal leader of the gang, who murdered a former member of the party in the middle of the street one night. You also rescued 4 members of the party who had been kidnapped by the Phantom Gang once they heard that you guys were looking for them, hunting them down. You completed an investigation with Draco's investigation, put upon him by his mercenary crew. You found out a metric ton of information and lore and correspondence, and uncovered a puzzle that you know from the comments of Nakir and others. If you can solve the riddle, you will unlock a gate that will grant you an ancient crown. A crown that you were asked to go and find by Drendon Moonling, captain of the Griffin Riders in Westhead, as well as others. Upon your victory, you were approached by one of the rogues who was only too happy to have Nakir the Dread Rider dead and be freed of the mysterious cult following of the one who kills on sight, whose face you glimpsed in an illusion he was using to communicate with Nakir. So there a lot happened. A lot happened. Frasher almost died. And Ziklu did perish, slain as he was repeatedly attacked over and over by these invisible, airy assassins. These things, these wind creatures summoned by the one who kills on sight upon your approach. The Scaly Scott did not have a great day. But the Wanderers have emerged mostly intact and somewhat victorious. And that is where we are going to pick up our game. Are there any questions? Doesn't sound like it. Okay. Please let me know if I've forgotten anything important. So, I have one note I want to bring up as we're getting started here. For our new players, more. You guys came into the campaign. By new players, I mean Corey and Matt and Lindsay. But you guys came into the campaign at a particularly unusual moment, right as the party had entered into this city and gotten in prison. And this campaign is actually a hex crawler. So the style of campaign had been quite different up to that point. And as the party committed themselves to going to prison and getting out of prison and doing all these dungeons, it was a story that was a little bit more on rails. But the actual style of the campaign is a far more player-driven style. So now that you have accomplished all of these major things and these goals that have been waiting in the background for a very long time, what you do next is going to be, well, it was always up to you, but it's going to be a little bit more wide open. And this campaign kind of depends on you guys taking an interest in that style. Hopefully there's enough investment that it won't be too jarring. But the hex crawler game, this hex crawler game, depends partially on you guys taking an interest, for example, in the map, which has not been a thing, really, because you've been in Westhead all this time. But the campaign will work best. It will work better if you are actually interested and excited by looking at this map and saying, I wonder what the heck that is. Let's go and find out. And a lot of your secrets and your backstories and a lot of campaign adventures hook into that sort of style. That said, there is a lot still to do in Westhead. A lot. And you are by no means obligated to take any particular course, including leaving or staying. But I just want to kind of address that and make it as clear as I can before we suddenly, it's not a massive shift, but it's a significant shift in the campaign's feel and style. So there you have it. Any questions about that?
Well, I don't think it's really a question, but maybe you can help. So one of Typha and Frasher's original motivations was their tribe basically said there's another greater tribe out in some far distant away swamp, and they sent us on a quest to go find them, ostensibly. And I don't know if any of those hexes, if you have planned that they're actually, swamp terrain.
I absolutely have. But okay. You guys told me, I believe, although I don't know if I have it in writing. I would like it in writing, if you can get it in writing. But I believe you guys told me that it was part of your guys' characters that you did not remember where the swamp was.
Well, and I think our let's just say our tribe was purposefully vague.
Yeah. Well, feel free to make it more specific, or I can work with you on that. Okay. But yeah, that's an example. So everybody, did you hear that? I'm back.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Abba.
Hi, Ema. Hi, Abba.
Hi, birthday, baby.
More directly
Lindsay.
Relevant in... So, for right now, we have this gem. I'm sure Ziklu knew what we were supposed to do with it. I am certain Frasher didn't. I have no idea if Ziklu had, like, in writing on his person, a note of what we were supposed to do with this gem.
To put it a different way, Ziklu was the brains of the Scaly Squad.
Well,
Are we talking them that we put?
Definitely not the bronze,
You?
though.
I cannot promise that Ziklu had anything written down.
That brings up a good question. Can he even write?
I was thinking about that the other day. Like, isn't half of our group just like illiterate now?
Yeah.
Frasher was briefly able to read all writing, but he gave that up just now.
And I can read druid signs, which I assume are like acorns arranged in patterns.
Yeah, Ziklu was definitely capable of reading. Writing might have been a little bit trickier, but...
Okay, great. It doesn't sound like there's any actual questions about that topic.
Well, I have no idea where we are on the map.
That too.
Well, that's part of the game's challenge, but perhaps
Cool.
some of the other players know. That is. I wanted a campaign where you could get lost.
Yeah, I mean, it's canonical that Frasher and Typho were lost.
Yes.
Mhm.
But Matt, the player, is also unsure of where we are on this map.
Yeah. So I told the players the hex where they started, which was 1313. So I guess it's only fair
Okay,
if
that's a
I
good
tell
ballpark.
you guys where you started. Come to think of
Oh,
it.
so it's a different number?
Very. So the campaign began in 1313, which was the town of Toreen. You guys have joined over here in 0212, which is the city of
That
Westhead.
is a different number. Okay. Cool. There's some kind of pyramid nearby. That seems exciting.
There is the Ushzak Pyramid.
And some bad news in the obelisk.
Yeah, we're not going.
Oh, is
back
that your
there.
nickname for, what's his name?
Bad news obelisk? Yeah.
Those some bad times.
All right. Okay. So there you go. I told you guys where you started, so now the other players know for sure too, although they did already know. Okay, guys. I think my kid just turned on the white noise machine again. The That was just my own mistake. Okay, here we go. Doesn't sound like there's any other further questions? Great. So, you guys make your way back out of Nakir's lair and back toward the Scarlet Fork to rest, recuperate, regather your stuff, and of course turn over the evidence you've found for the Commoner's Conundrum that the fans have been working very hard. The commoners back in the Scarlet Fork, who are going to show up in tonight's game, have been working very hard to solve and have made some significant progress to get you guys a treasure, so help them out.
Awesome.
Okay. As you emerge from the steps leading down to the lamplit market and back onto the street, you discover that in the intervening time, the sun has just begun to set, and a great fog has descended over the city, while you spent the day in the sewer tunnels and below. The gray clouds make passerby seem like ghosts, and muffles their rebellious, angry muttering, which is the ambient sound of the city. There is a feeling of mutinous rage, chilled by the cold sea fog. You can smell the salt and rotten kelp on the light breeze as the evening life wakes up in Westhead. Occasionally, you hear the flap of wings overhead and catch an odd glimpse of the Griffin Riders passing overhead on official business. When you get to the end of the block from the sewer entrance, however, that's when you see something that truly chills your skin and makes it crawl more than any queer fog. A pair of glowering eyes, bluish flames piercing the fog. Upon your approach, you see a tremendous warrior, 7 feet tall at least, covered in jet black armor, and leaning on an unsheathed sword nearly his own height. His eyes glow with this electric blue, no pupils visible through the slits in his helmet, and you sense a sinister aura of palpable evil emanating from the figure. Most people avoid him, giving him a wide berth as they pass in the cobblestone street, but a few, mostly the fish-like folk that live out on the shipwreck, work up the courage to get close and offer a defiant grimace. "Down with the Duke's guard," they mutter, bravely enough. And at the next corner, on your way back to the tavern, another such Duke's guard is posted. Identical, but for the different battle scratches on his armor and weapon. And at the next corner, still another. Nothing but black metal and glowering eyes. It lends a horrible feeling that Duke Rothdal's grip has tightened on the town. Comments from passerby indicate that this is the official response to the events of the traitorous Moon riots and the aftermath. Apparently there has been some meeting of rebels and Duke Rothdal is cracking down. And that is the feeling as you make your way back to the Scarlet Fork Inn and Tavern. Anything before we jump there?
Akiri's trying really, really hard to resist the urge to cast Turn Undead. That's
all right. You guys all see you see Akiri like sort of tense, even more than the rest of you. Just tense up. And Akiri, do you wear any symbol? I can't remember.
Yeah, but it's small.
Did you work?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's just a little...
Well, as you think about using Turn Undead and nearing these creatures, it flashes with a liquid amber glow in the evening dusk.
Cool.
All right. You get back to the inn, and of course, you are battle battered. You are wounded. You are tired. You are low on resources. You guys collapse into your rooms. Make sure to update your hit points, your if you get charges on items that return slowly, update that as well, etc.
How many charges did the slippers have? Or do they reset or something?
I believe it is 10 rounds per day, and they get the full 10 back every day.
It says regains 1d4 charges on a short rest.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
But, like, I don't know how... Corey, were you tracking charges on those?
It had 2 charges left.
Cool, thank you.
Okay. I'm updating the calendar real quick. There we go. Okay. Very nice. Okay. The inn. So the next morning, you get out of bed, your muscles aching and sore. The stink of the sewer still clinging to your armor and garments. And here you are in the Scarlet Fork Inn. Can you hear that? What?
Kind
Kind of?
There was something like.
I can hear it.
Yep.
Okay. So, it is now the 15th of Afisti. You are in the Scarlet Fork Inn. Clara Swithrand is ecstatic to see you guys back, safe and sound, and crestfallen to learn of Ziklu's passing. There are quite a number of people here who are eager to see you and speak with the Wanderers.
That
Clara
seems
is
bad.
doing a roaring business as your de facto manager. And the commoners, known as Mops, IOG, and Taladar, are hard at work poring over the various pieces of this puzzle that you have brought back and asked for, or Clara asked them for some help with, guzzling their free drinks.
I provide them with supportive management.
Now, okay. Clara says she will arrange something in remembrance of Ziklu. But in the meantime, she thinks the most urgent person to talk to is sitting by themselves at the table by the bar, which is over here. Vapos, what are you drinking?
Vapos is definitely drinking just a sparkling water.
All right. You have an enchanted sparkling water that pops with a sort of a musical tinkle out of your rising up out of the glass, bubbles rising out of the glass. in various colors. What do you look like? And how do you introduce yourself as Clara directs the members of the party over to you?
Well, the first and most obvious thing to note about Vipos is that his skin is his skin is not the normal color. His skin is it's a pale blue that is actually constantly shifting around in its tones. It's not really stable. It's almost like his skin is made of water. And his hair is actually it looks exactly like it's just tendrils of water that are tied back into a knot. But the tendrils stay distinct, despite continuing to flow around him, even though there's no current. As the group approaches, he'll stand up from the table and give a bow and just say, "Ah, I see the wanderers have returned. My name is Vipos. I am pleased to make your acquaintance."
Oh, it's nice to meet you, Vapos.
Yes, you
Typha-
find.
oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Typha is standing there with her mouth open and says, "You're so beautiful."
Why, thank you, small one. It is appreciated. But I did not seek to speak with you for flattery. I believe that we may have some common business to discuss. I came to the city seeking information from a certain organization, and it came to my attention that your group might be associated with them. And
Is it the Phantom Gang? Because we just killed the Phantom Gang.
no, it is.
We didn't kill all of them.
That's true. We only killed most of them.
Well, if the Phantom Gang is who I think they are, then that is a very good thing. But no, the group that I am seeking is associated with this talisman. And Vapos will reach into the pouch on his belt and produce a sigil.
Okay.
Ah, yes. I should give that. I should give that to you, actually. But it is a circular token, rather like a large coin, with an odd symbol on it that you have seen before. Do you know what it is?
Is it the one that Thrasher has also seen before and may be carrying?
I think so.
Okay. He's like, I have one too.
Yes.
One piece of art I'm still really proud of. One of the few.
Here we go. That's yours, Vapos.
Awesome.
Oh. All right. Cool.
That was, we met her in the woods. And, out of character, I feel really bad because that character was played by my real-life brother, and I don't remember their character's name.
Vilas.
I've seen that before.
What was her name?
Vilas or Velas, right?
Something like that. That sounds familiar.
Oh, start with a C.
Like an S. I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
I
Give me a
remember she
second.
was a cute redhead. That's all I remember.
Yeah, she
I'll
had a-
find it. Give
Irish
me a
accent.
second. It's in my notes, of course, but I didn't have it at the top of my brain. Continue, and I'll tell you the name when I find it.
So you work for the what were they called? The Disaster Guild, the
Calamity League.
Calamity Association.
I do not. I was told by someone that I trust that they could, or that this Calamity League could provide me with the answers that I seek. I have long been a member of another less savory organization, and I am trying to discover more about my prior situation.
Well, is there something here in Westhead that you think might be able to help you meet that goal?
I was hoping that the group of you could potentially help me. Are you familiar with the Calamity League?
Somewhat, yes.
Excellent.
I'm not really sure how much we're allowed to say, but yes, we've met several members, and we know a little bit about their whole deal.
Of course, I understand. You have only just met me, and I understand that secrecy is of high importance to organizations such as this.
Wait, you aren't members?
Not officially, but I think that at least I should be grandfathered in.
I thought you were members.
Well,
Tifa, weren't we supposed to find members and help them?
Diplo said, do this, get shiny coins. We did that. I don't know what they do.
Okay.
Tifa turns to Vapos and she says,
So, you left bad tribes, because they was bad, and now you're looking for the bad tribes?
I did not realize some of the problems with that organization before, but I was forced out, and upon leaving, I was told some things that made me question what I knew. I'm looking for further information. I need to better understand precisely what happened.
this seems way over Tifa's head, so she just kind of nods.
Well, I don't know if we can really claim to know what's going on almost any axis, but we'll
At all.
certainly help you if we can.
That would be greatly appreciated. I do have a bit to offer you as well. I have heard some of the or some information about this gang that you've recently taken on. Perhaps did you while you were engaging with them hear anything about about KOS?
We did. Yes, we've. That's the thing you have information about? We're very interested.
yeah.
Well, I can provide some information then, but perhaps that is better suited for a less public venue.
Certainly, I understand. Well, I guess we have rooms here. We can all try to crowd into one of them if you want to talk to us. But yes, we're very interested to hear what you have to say about him. I think that he's going to be one of the next people on our increasingly unmanageable hit list.
It may be more difficult than you realize, but yes, if we can go somewhere more private, then that would be most appreciated.
Clara, who is making her way back toward your side of the bar after serving some of the patrons on the other end, overhears that and says, "Friends, if it's privacy you need, I believe one of the private booths is available." She indicates over there. But before you closet yourselves away, I just wanted to let you know about a few other folks that you may want to speak to here in the tavern today. They've been waiting quite patiently for you to finish beating up the gang.
Certainly. If you don't mind, Vapos, we'll speak with them because I feel that we'll probably want to spend a little bit more time with you and your information about the KOS.
Of course, I would be happy to wait.
And I direct him over to the empty booth and tell Clara to hook him up with something on my tab.
Cool. Breath, can I ask you a question real quick? What's the name of that town in your backstory? Westin? Bespin? Probably not Bespin.
Probably not Bespin.
Alright, look it up and tell me later.
Yeah.
Bella, where did you say you went?
Well, I'm gonna try and talk to some of the other people, but I tell Vapos to go to the empty booth, and I tell Clara to give him whatever he wants on my tab.
Cool. She says, "I expected you to say that," and refills your sparkling, your enchanted sparkling water. Thanks, Rosie. Okay. She points around the room. She says, "Well, fortunately, they're all quickly becoming patrons of the bar, so our little arrangement is working out quite well for the Scarlet Fork, as you can see." Frasher is kicking his knapsack, by the way. He's just like kicking it.
Yeah, he just kind of put it down and started kicking it.
Is that
inexplicably
the one with the dead body in it?
Yeah. Do you
Okay.
like ask him why he's kicking it, or just wondering?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna walk over and say, "Hey, Pressure, buddy, maybe..."
Something was moving.
What? Don't you want to... I don't want to tell you how to handle your grief, but I'm worried he might start bleeding all over the place, and you don't really want to waste all of that tasty blood. So maybe just open it up and see what's moving.
To confirm, you're asking Frasher to open the bag that has Ziklu's corpse in it.
Rather than kick it, yes.
Okay, so yeah, Sure. Thrasher opens up this bag. No, he doesn't dump it out, but he starts rummaging around in there.
People are looking over like, what's that smell? But maybe nobody wants to mess with the warlock looking the warlock
He looks very out of place everywhere, so yeah.
Westhead's pretty multicultural, and there are like fishy kind of people around. But still, he stands out. You don't normally see lizardmen in settlements. Alright, so while he's doing that, Clara points toward this table. She says, some of the locals took up a collection to give you a reward for dealing with the Phantom Gang as thanks, when the current police were either unwilling or unable. You can talk to Matron Felda Rasterman. She's over in the corner with all of the children. And I believe that, along with the, she's kind of appointed herself head of the locals taking up a collection, and they have a further request for you. Over at the table with those elves, there's a, well, they want to talk to you about a job. I'm not quite sure what it is, but I believe it has something to do with a noble family. The Polu family.
And last time we tried to work with a noble family, there was a riot in the square. I mean, no offense, Bella, but that could have gone better.
Well,
No, I totally agree.
there's a messenger from Drendon Moonling who wants to talk. He and his associate are, or she and her associate are in the corner, in one of the private booths. There's a sort of disreputable looking figure by the fire who I don't know, but seems to be wearing the colors of the alligator crew. Another gang. I'm not quite sure what they want, but I think it might have to do with whatever you have just done down in the sewers. Which, by the way, word is getting out about. Then there's a group of gnomes, and her voice gets low. They're with the rebellion, and I think they have a job for you.
I see. All right, well, thank you. Thank you very much for keeping track of everything for us. I hope this has been a really good night for you.
It's starting to be a great day, but there are a few others that if you approach, I'm sure would have some words and potentially a job for you. Word of the Wanderers is getting around, so congratulations on that. Here you go, and she hands you whatever you would like to drink, whatever you've been ordering the most of.
Man, I don't even know. But well, guys, who do we want to talk to first? I vote for the people who want to give us a reward.
Honestly, I just want to go to bed, but like, sure.
But don't you want to go to bed with a reward?
Sometimes when people
this
show
is
up.
after you guys. This is after you guys slept. This is the next day.
This is okay.
Oh,
Good.
Okay.
We might still want to go to bed, guys. Like, that's a
That's
legitimate
true.
feeling.
Well, maybe you just want to go right back to bed. You got up the next morning. You're sore.
Here you get,
you're tired.
not
you're
to
having
go
breakfast,
back.
and you like, you know what? Screw this. We're going to go sleep it off some more because we need to recharge. That's a legitimate thing to do.
Yeah. So the funny implication there is that Frasher took this bag with Ziklu in it somewhere, slept, and then brought it back with him.
Oh God. Maybe you should arrange to have him buried.
He's not going to do that.
I like how we have somehow managed to kill 2 characters in Westhead and lose absolutely none to dragons.
Yeah, Westhead has been terrible. The worst place.
Actual worst.
I would rather be back at the slave auction.
Oh my God.
Because at least we did something there and nobody died.
Nobody died. There was lots of fun to be had if you ignored the weeping slaves. This place is terrible.
Maybe we need to do something to make it better. Maybe we can talk to this rebellion.
Yeah, probably. All right, let's talk to the people who want to give us a reward first, and then we'll just sort of spiral outward from there.
I think that'll work. So we make our way over to the reward people.
The reward people. All right, you go talk to Felda Rasterman. She's corralling one of the children. She's like, "No, Timmy, don't put that in your nose. Don't put anything in your nose." She sighs and then looks up. She says, "Oh, yes, hello," and kind of tries to fix her hair. She says, "It's an honor to meet you all." She looks at the group of you, and she says, "That's incredibly sexy, Corey." We just had the doorbell ring, which is unexpected, so...
It sounds like a package was delivered, so I'll go
okay.
check on it in a bit.
Alright.
Maybe the mailman, whatever.
What was I doing?
We're talking to the mom.
Right. She says, a few of us around the neighborhood were only too glad that you were dealing with the Phantom Gang, as they have been terrorizing us. So, well, we took a collection, and those of us here in the Heavens Plaza neighborhood would like to give you a token of our appreciation. And, well, here it is. She pulls out this sort of sack, this bag, and plonks it down on the table where you hear this metallic plinking, rattling from inside. And she says, I hope it's appreciated, or I hope it's useful, and we would like to talk to you if, well, there's more. We could possibly rustle up another reward if you would take on another job for us. And she pushes the bag across the table to whoever's nearest.
I'll open it up and look inside.
There is a pile of copper pieces. hundreds of copper pieces.
I say
Stamped
this
with
is
the Westhead
unbelievably
stamp.
generous, and totally unexpected, and yes, certainly very appreciated. No further reward necessary. I'd love to talk to you about what the other problems are that you see in this neighborhood. Goodness knows, it seems like Westhead is having a lot of trouble right now, and we'd like to help out however we can.
She leans forward. I'm so glad you said that. And I'll tell everyone in the Heavens Plaza neighborhood. Mr. Lockrus has been, nursing his broken head for a few days now. She looks around and she kind of glances over toward the Minotaur standing in the doorway, who doesn't look particularly like he's threatening anyone. He's kind of just, he's come in recently, kind of looking around, but she eyes him with this sort of poisonous glare. And she says, "You see, some in the Order of the Sacred Bull are not doing their jobs." Like, she started off quiet and then got louder, as though, like, she couldn't decide whether she wanted to be hidden or wanted to make a point to the Minotaur, who is clearly wearing the armor and livery and the pin of the Order of the Sacred Bull. Welcome, Nico. Draco, you guys... well, someone else is going to have to get you up to speed because I am talking about other stuff, but you are over at this table in the Scarlet Fork getting a reward from the local neighborhood. They have just given you 763 copper pieces, actually, in that bag. You can count them later, so whoever would like to record that. So it's quite a large, heavy bag.
This is amazing. I'm so delighted.
So she glares at me. She says, "They're not really doing their jobs, or at least some of them are doing their jobs too well. You see, some of them cover their faces and take off their badges, but we know it's the Order of the Sacred Bull because they stop that, Matilda. Just stop doing anything." She's surrounded by children, and they keep they're playing and doing stuff. Some of them are listening, and the older children are listening, but most are kind of uninterested in fooling around and playing with their food. She says, "I'm sorry. But we know it's the Order because they still wear the armor and the official weapons. But they try to hide themselves, and then, well, they're terrorizing the neighborhood. They're corrupt. They're corrupt police. Anyone that says a word in support of the good old De La Fontaine family. They're terrorized. They're terrorized. These rogue members of the Order are seriously scaring us. Broken windows and shutters. Someone opened my mail. They come in the night and they cover their faces and they take off their badges and they do things. And, well, Roger, the oldest boy who's been listening, she says, tell them what you told me." And he kind of looks at you guys and he says, he seems very shy to meet you. And he especially looks at Bref and just seems totally... Well, he's very in awe of all the exotic creatures that you are. But the... But he's sort of in awe of Bref's physique. And he says, well, I was north of the city, and, well, I was hunting rabbits in the forest, and I went a little farther east than I meant to, and, well, I saw the lights on the pyramid, the Ushzak, and they were doing something. Well, I saw the bulls in masks, the guys in masks, and with their faces all covered in sacks, and wearing the armor. One of them knocked me over, but they were going toward the pyramid, and they were up to something out there, and I ran and hid. But yeah, that's what I saw. Mm-hmm. And she says, we want you to investigate. We want you to find out why they're doing this and what they're up to before anyone else gets their head broken or goes missing.
You were very brave to come back and tell us about this.
Roger shrugs. Thanks.
We'll certainly look into it. That isn't right. It's one thing if it's a gang that can be taken down, but it's another thing when people who actually have power are covering up this type of behavior. I assume you've talked... Well, I shouldn't assume. Are there any authority figures that you've talked to who have indicated that they're not interested in pursuing it? Or is the assumption just that everybody is aware of it and doesn't perceive it as a problem?
She says, well, none of the higher up members seem to be involved. But
that's good, at least.
It doesn't let them off the hook. And she glares again at the Minotaur, who is now over at the fireplace, warming himself from the spring chill.
Certainly not. I just wanted to rule out anybody who would be a waste of time. We have a few contacts in law enforcement, and some of them might be able to help, but I don't want to get anybody into trouble, and I don't want to waste my time talking to somebody who would not be interested in hearing what I had to say.
She says, I'm sure they're doing something about it, but whatever it is, it's not enough. And, you know, well, the Duke's men are also down. The Duke supports any anti-De La Fontaine feeling. And, oh, nice picture, Vapos. And
thanks.
Raises up those who would put down the old family. But some of us are still loyal.
I'm not surprised. Not least because I don't know much about the De La Fontaines, but I have to imagine that anybody would compare favorably to the current leadership.
The Order of the Sacred Bull was the De La Fontaine family's, was the police force they put into place. So there are loyalists among them, and there are those who still remember what Westhead once was.
All right. Well, thank you for telling us all of this, and thank you very, very much for your generosity. We'll look into it, and hopefully this won't be a problem that you have to deal with much longer.
She says, I'll tell the others. Now come here and wash your hands. She starts wiping one of the children's hands.
All right. Who do we want to talk to next?
Typha has been trying to... Oh! Bella doesn't have her camera on. She doesn't look at the cameras. Typha, did you want to say something? Oh, we can't hear you. That's what the problem is.
Oh, you can't hear her. Okay, sorry. I have her muted, so I couldn't tell. You could hear her before, right?
No. When she raised her hand, I was like, well, why don't you just say something?
No, but like earlier in the second...
We have heard her, yes.
We have
yeah.
heard her today.
Okay.
Yes. I hear her in the background of Matt's camera.
Yeah.
Matt's mic.
Okay, I guess I'll go figure that out.
To talk.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you now.
Sorry,
Yep.
I don't
Yeah.
know what happened before.
She was hardware muted. That's what happened
Okay,
before.
cool. So I just had a quick question, which is, do we know what's supposed to be in the ziggurat?
I think it's supposed to be like a funerary place, right?
Correct.
Like this.
It has some necromantic overtones at the moment.
So it's like supposed to be where they bury the city's dead, or bury like the nobles of the city, or something like that.
Yeah, it's some kind of honor to be buried there. So people do travel from far away to be buried there. But I'm not sure. We never really looked into what the criteria are for being buried. Whether it's just expensive or whether you have to be like a noteworthy person.
You were offered the opportunity to bury the guy who you brought out of the Lotus Tower. The Lotus Tower. You remember you brought a body to the city, and you were trying to decide whether to have him cremated by the order of the Sacred Bull, or to pay the hefty gold piece fee for him to be buried in honor in the Ushzak pyramid.
That's right. Okay, so yeah. So it's just like expensive, but it's some kind of, but people like travel from far away in order to be interred there. It's some kind of like Wildlands tradition.
So creepy guys in service of weird Lich Duke going around local graveyard.
Yep.
Doesn't look good.
That's the headline in the broadsheets. Or that could be a headline.
All right, so let's see. Who do we want to talk to next? The elves at the next table up?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
All right, we make our way to the elves.
Okay. There should be another couple of elves at the table. I like how Rosie is just playing with the phone instead of watching the thing I put on my phone. That's classic Rose right there. Okay, let's see. Yeah, what happened to the other elves that I put there? There we go. Bam. By the way, I hope if you guys would do me a favor and catch Draco up to speed on anything in like, you know, maybe Discord or something.
I got the gist.
Oh, okay, great. You missed Vapos's excellent intro.
Gotta go get pizza.
Okay, bye. Okay, you go talk to the table with a bunch of elves sitting at it. And they are well dressed. Especially this guy. He's got these kind of beautiful flowing robes with red and green in this intricate leaf pattern that form these whorls and swirls and mysterious sigils upon his clothing. In fact, to Typha's eyes, it forms words that no one else can see or read or even recognize. Yes? Are you putting your foot on me? And he looks up and stands and bows just ever so slightly with this polite gesture as you guys approach that area of the inn. And he says, "Good morning. I am Ando Pelurion. I am a representative of the Paolu family, and these are my attendants." He gestures at the other elves, who are all dressed more or less like rangers with these green on green clothes carrying bows and arrows.
Pleasure to make your acquaintance. How can we help you?
We have heard tell of your exploits, and the Paolu family. Those honoraries have become interested in potentially enlisting your services to our cause. Perhaps you might have a seat, and we could discuss.
I'll sit down.
Thank you so much for your time. I see you are at least of partial elven blood. Would you prefer to converse in that tongue?
If you are comfortable speaking in common only for the sake of my compatriots who might not all be able to speak Elvish, but if there are certain things which you would prefer communicated in Elvish, I can certainly accommodate that.
Very well. I shall be brief, but for context. Desru Paolu, High Priestess of the Mystic Circle on the island to the west, was friends with Marjorie Mukwana, the maternal grandmother and he starts into this. This is a very elvish thing. He's giving this sort of the context from like 80 years ago. Was friends with Marjorie Mukwana, the maternal grandparent of the last of the de la Fontaine family, and therefore retains a certain fondness for such folk and all of those who were favored by them, including patrons of the arts and creators of great art, such as the quite wondrous playwright Eldan Enderal. Though he was called Lord Enderal by some, Desru referred to him as Eldan. And as a gesture of that long-held appreciation, when Lady Desru Paulu heard that you were the leader of the Wanderers, who were making quite a splash here in Westhead, it was hoped that you would take on, or at least be open to discussion, for taking on a particularly important task, and seeing as you are somewhat in better graces here in the city than those that care for the mystic circle of stones on the island to the west.
Certainly, any friend of my father is a friend of mine. How can we help?
Well, I shall speak only in brief, and we can leave the specifics for a further meeting, if that is agreeable. Perhaps in a context with a little less busy and more conducive to detailed conversation.
Certainly.
Fundamentally, the Paulu family would like for you to have words with Duke Rothdal, and in return they are willing to offer him concessions. But what they desire is all too grave a matter, I'm afraid, for the Rothdal regime has seen fit to post soldiers, warriors, these Duke's Guard, upon the island, which was never done in the days of the De La Fontaine rule. This breach of conduct may be overlooked, and the Paulu family would like these restrictions of these unsavory soldiers lifted. If you would be willing to undertake these words, they are prepared to offer you a consummate reward. If you would be amenable to further discussion of this matter, please come see me at my current residence upon Shield and Hammer Street, at the inn there.
Certainly. I will make my way over there as soon as our schedule allows. This sounds like a very important thing, and it is no surprise to me that someone of as recent tenure as Lord Rothdal would be unfamiliar with the standing traditions that are of such importance when maintaining a city of this age and size.
Indeed. Indeed. But in that case, I shall take up no more of your time. Let us meet again soon to further discuss.
Certainly, it was a pleasure.
Of course. Anybody else?
Typha is trying to figure out the druid speak.
It seems to be words of druidic devotion and magic, having to do with ley lines and mystic roads.
So, I mean, this is so different from Typha's druidic tradition that it might as well be completely alien to her. So she's just like, fancy robe. It doesn't sync at all. She sees no familiarity in it.
Absolutely. All right, guys.
All right, where to next? The gnomes?
I wanted to chat with the folks who may or may not be part of the rebellion.
Ah, yes, of course. I'm starting to detect a theme in tonight's conversations.
Well, that would be the gnomes. If that's what you would like to do.
Certainly.
You approach the group of gnomes. And one of them stands on his chair as you approach and says, "Finally, come, let us speak now of matters both grave and urgent, and perhaps of interest to you. We have been waiting for a while, and are only too eager. Let us buy you a few drinks."
Thank you so much for your patience. I hope you understand that we've been trying to balance a number of interests and don't mean any disrespect by it, but we're certainly very interested in what you have to say.
Disrespect? No disrespect. How could you ever disrespect us? I am Eurovin, and I speak for our little group here. I am so glad to make your acquaintance, the Wanderers. Do you then speak for all of the Wanderers who are gaining quite the little reputation here in Westhead, I must say?
My companions are their own men, but it usually works out better.
Acorn wine, please. Acorn wine for the whole group here. Half a glass or a glass. You sell them by the glass? Yes. Proprietress, what was her name? Yes, Clara Sweethrand. Please give a glass of acorn wine, a special gnome brew. If you not a brew. It's not called brewing. What is it called? He looks at one of the other gnomes. And says, the process by which wine is made is not technically brewing.
I'm going to put a hand on his shoulder, say, hey, it's okay. You can take a breath, calm down. It's going to be okay.
Breathing is useful when one is speaking and must not be forgotten. In fact, my brother has an invention which allows one to breathe and speak underwater. It's the and speak part that's especially unusual. Although many of our persuasion will invent things that allow one to breathe underwater, not everyone is able to speak. My brother is unique in that fashion. He is quite the inventor, but that's neither here nor there. Yes, we would like a gnome vintage of acorn wine, please. Yes. So as that's being served by Clara, she kind of winks at you guys and nods approvingly. And then she calls this gnome. These two gnomes, they look at her, they look at each other, and this guy goes over here and he says, Mr. Minotaur, sir, I would like to speak with you outside, sir. There seems to be an issue. There are some seditionists outside, sir, and I need to show you right now. Seditionists? Well, let's go see what you're talking about. And he gets him out of the room in, like, less than 30 seconds. It's amazing to watch. The gnome leans over the table, swigs his wine, and says, "Okay, here's the thing. We know that you, the Wanderers, are not so happy with the Duke. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right?"
You're very right.
Good. Well, neither are we. In fact, we represent a particular cell. I don't know if you're familiar with this term. We are a cell of the rebellion. And the rebellion would like to do something about the current situation, which is completely untenable.
Apparently, a lot of people feel that way.
Lots of people feel that way. The rebels are rising. The anti-establishment feeling is growing. The movement will win in the end. But we have a problem. The military, controlled by the Duke, is too strong. Therefore, something must be done. But there is a problem. If we were to do something, what would then happen? Why, the Duke would be able to say, "These rebels are dangerous. These rebels are wrong. These rebels are not keeping you safe. These rebels are distracting the army. Therefore, what must the cell led by yours truly, Uravin the gnome, do? They must hire outside help, and it must be help that is not necessarily associated with the rebellion, not members of the rebellion, but sympathetic to our cause, and will do an excellent job, won't you?"
Absolutely.
Fantastic, then we are agreed. The job needs to be done soon. We don't have... it can't be done too soon, however.
You just tell us the ideal time frame and we'll make it happen.
Yes. We will send you a signal next month. It will be color-coded and cipher-coded, and it will come by word of mouth and letter. Then you'll know when to strike.
The more codes, the better.
And for this job, we will pay you. The rebellion is willing to pay for your services. Now, we do not have a great deal of funds. Obviously, most of our funds are earmarked for strictly rebel activities, but we understand that you have a wanderer, adventurer lifestyle to maintain, and we are willing to pay for that as well.
It's appreciated. We certainly understand that resources are tight, but whatever you can contribute to help offset the costs of the mission is greatly appreciated.
Excellent. We are willing to pay 500 pieces of silver in order to effect this critical enterprise.
Has anyone else given us a price point yet?
The elves were supposed to. Did he actually say it?
No.
Oh, 200 platinum pieces.
Jesus Christ. All right.
For speaking with the Duke on the Paolu family's behalf.
Well, listen, guys. I'm thinking that if we just sort of bundle all of this under the general project of overthrowing Lord Rothdal, then, making slightly less on this job and slightly more on the other, we're going to come out of it all right. Plus, we're going to be heroes, plus we get to kill a lich. So,
I'm just saying, man, copying spells over is expensive. I like the higher money options if we can take those.
I'm just not sure that any of these rule each other out. They might, in fact, be easy to accomplish all at the same time.
Right. Fair.
Are you having this conversation at the table with the gnomes, or sort of to the side?
I think it's just between me and Kate.
That's fine.
Yeah, there's an entirely different conversation happening behind them.
I know.
Right. So, I think that sounds... I think that sounds very fair. We are very much interested in assisting with the project of reducing the size of the boot on the city's neck. And anything, of course, is any information that you can give to help us do that is reward enough.
Excellent. Well then, we're in business. Put her there. He holds out his tiny, hairy gnome hand.
I shake it enthusiastically.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right, so when you get the signal next month, use the devices we will give you, and you'll blow up the wall, and we'll take our opportunity, won't we? All right.
That sounds perfect.
Fantastic.
Hey, Max.
I like you. You don't ask for too many details. Lots of people ask me too many questions. They come to me and they say, "Oh, Mr. Gnome Uravin, will you tell me every single detail about this operation? I want to know the whys, the wherefores, the who, the how, the when, You didn't ask. You're just like, we are here for this." I like that about you. It makes you more desirable, and it will make us more effective if we have that flexibility to work with. I like flexibility. You know, I once said that to my wife, and she was not too happy with me, but it was a different context that's really not related to this conversation.
We have found that the more we plan ahead, the worse things go for us.
Having said that, I would like to at least know. I suppose you don't need to tell us now because, of course, we want to make sure everything's on the hush hush. But I would like to know exactly what you plan to do with your opportunity.
What opportunity?
The one
the exploded wall.
Yeah, the one we'll be apparently creating for you.
Shh! Keep your voice down. You want every single citizen of this city to know that we're gonna blow up the wall and invite enemy forces in to attack to distract the Duke's army so that we can mount a proper rebellion once and for all. No, you don't. You don't want everyone to know, because if everyone knows, then everyone has an opinion, and then the Duke knows. And then all is lost. We can't have that, can we? No, you'll say to me, Uravin, why did you let me speak out of turn? Why did you let me let the Duke know? Why didn't you tell me we had to keep this a secret? No, this is more than secret. If there were a term for more than secret, I would use it. Top secret, double secret, triple secret, darkest secret. Hold it in your heart and never let it out.
Typha raises her hand.
You may speak.
If use is where the Duke's is, will you treat fish people better?
Oh. I'm not going to be in charge. No.
Who is then?
We are going to bring them back.
Who?
The true rebels, the true rebellion are all loyalists to the good De La Fontaine family.
Why am I not surprised?
And we are going to bring them back into power. I can't speak too much about it now, but that's because it's my double triple secret held in my heart, never to be let out ever until the time is ripe. Like a plum ready for the plucking of the tree, we will take a bite out of this city. Mark my words. The Duke won't know what hit him. He does not expect there to be any surviving relatives of the De La Fontaine family who brought down the Olve Empire. The true rebels they were. Yes, this is the city of rebels, and we mean to make it that again, but in the proper sense. Not ruled by one who shall live an unlife, an evil unlife forever. I tell you this, mark my words, we should not be ruled by one who is undead, but by those who have been related to the true lords of this city, the De La Fontaine family.
Now, I thought that they did have some surviving relatives, but maybe I'm confused.
Of whom do you speak?
I had thought that the leader of the Griffin Riders was somehow connected with the family.
The Moonling family, yes. They control the air, the skies. The Moonling family, yes. He would very much like to take over, I'm sure. That's politics in Westhead for you. It's all so complicated, twisty, turny, like the streets of the city where I grew up. Yes, I didn't grow up here. I grew up in another city, the Undercity of the Gnomes. Yes. But that's politics in Westhead for you. The Moonling family, sure. A second cousin, of a long dead De La Fontaine branch. They weren't even really De La Fontaines, not real royalty. No. Drendon Moonling is a young, brash, very eager young man, and no doubt he could make good. He would certainly be an improvement over the current regime. There's no doubt about that. But would he be a true, legitimate ruler? No, he would not. And the gods that built the bones of the Vargos would cry out and would bring him down eventually, or at least his children or his children's children. But the point is, Captain Drendon Moonling, he may have ambition, he may have the smarts, he may have the backing of quite a number of the noble families in the town, but does he have the justice of history on his side? He does not. No doubt, if he were to gain some sort of symbol of the office, some sort of physical, weighty representation of rulership, then he could certainly win the throne, but I don't know if he could do it without that. Not being close enough related to the proper royal family, you see.
Right, of course, that makes sense.
Your
all
event
right.
always makes sense. It's just everyone else who is not always quite up to his speed.
Absolutely. All right, so we will wait for your signal via code, and I think that we're in business.
Good. Then what I will need you to do, and for which we shall pay you an advance on our price, is to go and pick up the said devices.
Very well. Where can we find these items?
Well, it would be awfully foolish of us to keep them within the walls, wouldn't it? Considering the incredible levels of surveillance that are now at present all over the city. It's insane. It's crazy. It would be sheer madness to keep them within the walls. So, we keep them outside the walls.
Okay, makes sense.
You will have to go and get them. And bring them to a safe location.
All right.
The thing of it is, we will need you to carry some, something in trade for us. To trade for these items and the transaction, and then to wait for the signal to use them to blow up the walls so that we can get the warring forces in to distract the army.
Understood.
Remember that.
Yes, right. I just would like one thing cleared up that I think is important here. And
What can I clear up?
this isn't necessarily who is in charge of these invading forces, and why do you believe that they're not simply taking over Westhead?
Well, they won't be strong enough. That's the thing of it. They will not be powerful enough to defeat the Duke's forces. We had to think about this very carefully. Yes, Yorvin's rebel cell had to think about this. Koi had to make a lot of considerations. We had to decide, who are we going to give this opportunity to? Because we don't want them to win. We just want them to distract the army, pull the army out of the city where the rebellion cannot be quashed.
That makes sense.
Of course it makes sense. It's a Yorvin plan.
Of course. Right. Okay. Understood. All right. Well, you let us know where to get the trade item to take to find the devices, and we can certainly go and retrieve them.
Excellent. Excellent. You are quite helpful. That makes you quite the asset to the rebellion. It has been quite a pleasure to discuss with this. I was worried. I was worried when you started talking to those elves from the Myth Barrow. I started to worry that when you started talking to those elves from the Myth Barrow that you were in with the nobility and would not help us.
I can absolutely assure you that we have no love for the Duke.
I think that that's the key point here, and I'm not entirely familiar with the ins and outs of all of the political factions, this not being my home city, but our current general perspective is that we are against the Duke, and the enemy of our enemy is our friend, and we're not going to turn away help where we can get it.
That is so good to hear. That is so good to hear. Well, we shall be in contact once again with more information for you, as well as an advance for your services.
I'm very much looking forward to hearing it.
Good. Good. And he sits back down again on the chair. Drink up. It's good to have a little bit of liquor to slow us down sometimes.
All right, who do we still have to talk to? Oh my god. The alligator man?
Yes.
All right, I have to step away from the computer for a second, but y'all go ahead and get that ball rolling.
Okay.
So what did we learn about the alligator man from our manager?
Just that he is wearing the livery of the alligator crew. And he said that he was a friend of Yvonne Katirand.
I think Draco would pull Akiri to the side. My dear, do you mind if we have a conversation?
Sure.
I don't need to be, I suppose, contrary, given that, Bella does seem to be the head of things in our little group, and I don't have a problem with that, but Do you suppose that perhaps we're getting a bit ingrained in the goings on here in a way that's perhaps not our place? I mean, Bella, in one breath, Bella basically said that we don't know the politics because this isn't our hometown, but we are fully on board with supporting the downfall of one of its leaders. You don't think that feels a little bit wise?
Well, I'm kind of the opinion, and this is kind of because, I don't know, he's a lich, and I'm a life cleric, so we're kind of like, drastically opposed at all. Personally, I feel like I don't really like him. He's kind of creepy, kind of weird, and definitely there's people suffering. So I feel like taking him down isn't necessarily a bad thing, because he's a bad guy. We're good guys, right?
Right. I suppose so. It's just we're talking to a lot of people, and we're getting a lot of attention drawn to ourselves, and I am not comfortable with the idea of getting overly involved in the politics of a place that really isn't any of our business. But you do bring up a good point, I suppose, and I guess in one way or another we're going to get paid for it. It's just, I don't know. We have a lot of conflicting and converging voices being spoken to us, and I'm afraid I would be lying if I didn't say I wasn't a bit lost.
I'm very lost.
Right. I mean, I can't tell if those elves' agenda contradicts with the gnomes or the group we were talking to first, or this. He kind of looks around and whispers really close up to her area where her ear would be, and goes, "The crown that the drow asked us to retrieve. All I'm saying is, and not just the drow, I was that griffin fellow as well. I think we should be careful with how many promises we're making. We seem to make a lot, and we might be biting off more than we can chew."
Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. I've noticed that, things kind of sort themselves out after a while. But I don't know. It does seem like a lot. But we've also been doing a lot in the past, too. So I don't know. It feels about normal at this point.
Draco just shrugs and goes, "All right. If you feel at peace about it, then I suppose I'm all right with it too. And at the end of the day, as long as I get paid, I suppose I'm right. Speaking of which, I should probably get going to my branch of my organization, see if they had any. I need to report to them. The Phantom Gang was part of my assignment. But let's see what this alligator man has to say."
Listen, as far as I'm concerned, we're just gathering information right now. I mean,
I wasn't talking to you. Go away.
Wow.
I just imagine the village just walked behind Gary and said that, and Jack was like, "No."
I know you didn't know that we were having a private conversation because you left, but I just love the idea of Akiri and Draco having this hushed conversation and Bella just popping up. "Well, you see what I think."
It's my job.
I just beat you away with my staff. Be gone.
I'm the bard. I'm part of every conversation. That's how it goes.
I choose to assume that Frasher was also standing right next to you, but you didn't care because he wasn't paying attention.
He has a dead zone,
Yeah.
dead stare, just
Yeah, but Draco saw that and was like, "He's not. It's fine."
There's one brain cell active, and it's gently ping-ponging around his skull. There's just enough to keep him alive going on there.
Oh, he just remembered to breathe.
I'm cool with going talking to Alligator Man. I just wanted to have that conversation with Akiri.
Okay. Okay, so if you guys are leaving the table, it seems like Eurovin was just waiting for you to start leaving before grabbing your attention again. And he says, "All right, good." And he slams some silver coins down on the table and slides them across toward whoever's nearest. And he says, "There's your advance.
Thank you very much.
To the Avalair Ruins to pick up the items in question from the green hag that lives there and her slithering servants."
And what is she expecting in trade?
A Gordra?
Uh-huh.
I'll give you the thing in trade in a week's time. Around back of this building, meet me. I will not be alone.
Sounds good to me.
Excellent. And the code is green 1404.
Hey, Max. Could Draco do an insight check on our very verbose friend here and try to get like the idea of his attitude towards us? Specifically, does it feel like he sees us as disposable tools like the invading forces he's bringing in? Or does he actually see us as co-conspirators?
Now that is one of my favorite requests for an insight check that I've ever heard. Go for it.
Yay! It's not great, 10.
You're going to have to go by my, for lack of a better word, acting and what he said.
In that case, he gave us glasses of wine, right?
He did. And drank.
Okay. Draco will stand up and he will say, "If you'll excuse me, I need to go to the little wizard's room." And he's going to go find a secluded, quiet corner of the tavern, if there is such a place. And if I remember this correctly, give me one moment to make sure I got this right.
I'm having too much fun, y'all.
While he's working out that, at some point, Frasher bought as much salt as they would sell him.
Okay. Actually,
I am imagining something that I don't want to.
Yep.
I think it's exactly what you're not wanting to imagine.
Yeah, pretty much.
No.
He said we could do whatever we wanted with Ziku's body.
Okay, so actually, may I retcon that, Max, really quick?
Yeah,
Instead of the glass of wine, Draco will discreetly swipe. Well, not so discreetly. He handed it to us. He's gonna take one of those silver pieces, and he will go into the corner of the room, and he'll pull out the silver piece, and then he'll take his staff, and he's going to tap the silver piece with the head of his staff. And I'm going to use one charge of my staff of the brass disciple to speak with the silver coin. And I'm going to ask it, can we trust this gnome?
So he's waving his staff. He's doing something in the corner. He's taken just one of the 100 silver pieces. And there's like something going on. That amount of money, by the way, as well as the copper bag, like, elicited some attention from the rest of the tavern. What was the question again?
The question was, can we trust this gnome?
I was taken from a slain undead in the dark of night. They cut off its head. Blood spattered me. Death and undeath marked my passing. And that is all I have for the asking.
Max, could you type that out? Because you kind of cut out a couple times.
Seriously? I cut out? Stupid microphone.
I swear, it's only when you're trying to be cool.
Yeah.
It's like normal Max. It's fine. You're
I'm flipping
good,
off the
but, like,
microphone here.
Everybody, I'm very sorry. I have to duck out. Something came up here in New Mexico. But Breath is good with whatever avenue we choose to pursue first.
Okay.
So, thank you, everybody. Goodbye.
Say hi and give our love to Danielle, okay?
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Dang.
It was really cool. I just couldn't understand everything you were saying.
Okay. Maybe if I don't hold my mouth so close to the microphone. I don't want to type it out right now. Actually, I should. Okay. It's just going to take a minute.
This is what always happened when my character talked to ghosts in Blades in the Dark, too.
The GM's voice just cut out.
Yep. He would put on some cool voice thing, and I would have no idea what he said.
It's like a Max and the Cordyceps voiceover.
Next time I'll just use my normal Dungeon Master voice.
I want to know if like a little mouth pops out, like appears on the coin.
So yeah, the coin actually forms like a silver mouth.
That's so
on
cool.
it, and it actually says this in a whisper.
Does it go back to being a normal silver coin afterwards?
It does. And your staff goes.
Very cool.
I was taken in the dark of night from a great undead. Blood spattered me as they took its head. Death and undeath marked my passing, and that is all I have for the asking.
I am very, very suspicious of this gnome. Draco will pocket the silver because spell copying is expensive, and apparently we're only getting paid in silver and copper coins. And he will go rejoin the rest of the party.
Well, unless you take up the elves from the myth barrel.
Right, which apparently, if I'm concerned, we are at risk of pissing them off by helping the gnomes, since apparently they're at odds with each other, or at least the gnomes don't like them. So, we might miss out on a really good payday. And it's again, copying spells is expensive.
work it all out. There's no, we're not making any solid commitments. There's no such thing as a solid commitment as long as you can convince people that they're on your side.
That reasoning deeply concerns me.
That sounded a little chaotic neutral.
That sounded a little. We're about to tell everyone that we're their extra special best friend. No, you know what that sounds like? That sounds like we're dating multiple people and not telling any of them about it.
If this angers
Yeah, what's
them,
your point?
and they challenge us,
Nico,
we
she's
completely
the bard.
defeat them.
This is the bardiest thing she's ever barding done.
Anyway, guess we go talk to the alligator man. I don't know. You guys are probably mid-conversation with the alligator man while I go have my coin rendezvous.
So the question is Akiri or Lindsay gonna ask him why he isn't a gator first? Sorry, is Akiri or Taifa?
I don't know.
I guess maybe Frasher will then, if neither one of you are.
Okay.
Here, Proctor talk to an NPC.
Actually, since I just had that little conversation, I think I am going to go talk to Bella and just kind of, if I can get her away from the gnome table, I would like to tell her what I was told.
Okay.
Can I get her away from the gnome table, Bella?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Draco would kindly ask that Miss Enderall give me an audience, and then say, I'm sure you've picked up on this, but I strongly do not trust this gnome. He is willing to lead an invading force to their doom to serve his purposes. There's no reason to assume he wouldn't do the same to us. Also, I used one of my staff's special properties to speak to one of the silver coins that he gave us. Sorry, wishful thinking. It spoke. I asked if we could trust him, and all it said was that its procurement involved death and undeath. It was very spooky, and I don't trust him at all. It seems like he has his hands in a lot of unsavory honeypots, and I do not trust him as far as I can throw him, which is not very far. I know he's very small, but I am a wizard, and I don't have very strong arms.
Understood. I agree with you that there are some things that became increasingly disturbing about what he was telling us as the conversation progressed. And I certainly agree with you that he is not as... his primary interest is not in keeping us safe, nor in keeping almost anyone else safe. I think that at this point, I'm more interested in getting the powerful explosives into the hands of people who won't use them for reckless purposes, namely us, and then kind of deciding where we're going to go from there.
Right. I'm wondering if I could perhaps get him to talk a little bit more, as it seems to not at all be difficult to do. But maybe another time. I am very curious to hear what this alligator man has to say.
Indeed. Yes, and even more anxious to get back to the water Ganassi, who has some information about our enemy. But we do need to wrap all of this up before we can get involved in anything really serious.
Quite so. I did not mean to stall. I just want to make sure that, especially with this fellow, that we had a conversation. But yes, we should proceed. I also have some business in town I'd like to attend to as well, but I want to be present for these conversations.
Those weren't seditionists at all. The Minotaur returns with the gnome falling after him, saying, "No, officer, no. I think you're not investigating enough. I think that you haven't thoroughly examined whether this would be a possible nest of vipers. Leave me alone. I'm off duty." The gnome shrugs and returns to your table, and eyeing the Minotaur, the gnomes kind of turn away from him, turn their backs to him, and bend over their cups of acorn wine.
Shall we go talk to our final acquaintance, or I guess penultimate acquaintance?
Indeed.
It's the Oaken Eclipse vintage of acorn wine. Who are you talking to?
Alligator Man.
Alligator boy.
Okay.
You know what Akira's gonna ask? So...
We know he's not an alligator.
Oh, he isn't?
No. He's a
Besides-
member of the alligator
That's
gang.
the green shirt. That is the least alligator-looking man I've ever seen.
Correct. He looks like this.
Oh, he looks like Zac Efron.
He looks like Zac Efron. And he kind of
Mildly.
fiddles with
Yeah,
his
Zac
hair.
Efron during, like, his, like, babyface teenager stage, slightly before High School Musical, the first one.
I'm just gonna keep going. The
You heard it.
the guy looks up. He's wearing these green clothes, and he has this sort of alligator skin jacket or vest. And he kind of looks, kind of gives you this foul look as you guys come up to him, and he says, "You're the Wanderers."
Yep.
He looks over at you and he says, "Huh. I'm a friend of Ivan Katirond."
Don't think I've heard of him.
Well,
Ah, wait.
she asked me
Yes,
to
I
hang
have.
out here. She asked me to hang out here and just see if you wanted to send her any messages. Remind you that we'd be the best ones to give it to when you get it.
So you're just going to be hanging out here until we get it?
I may come and go.
Understood. Well,
Depends on if you have a message for me.
not currently. We haven't had any developments since last night.
Well, hurry up.
Noted.
Jesus Christ.
The literal opposite of the gnome.
I'm not the opposite of anybody. Your mom is the opposite of the gnome.
Yeah, she
Uh-huh.
is.
Yes, she is.
Draco laughs because none of this makes any sense.
Has Draco met either of our moms? Because they've both been in the campaign, but I don't think he has.
I'm pretty sure
He
my
hasn't.
mom was, quote, insulted in that conversation, and she's human and also not a gnome, so I guess he's not wrong.
Yeah, I guess not a gnome is the opposite of a gnome.
That's true.
Hey, there's money
Draco-
in it for you. Serious money. Alright? Don't let these other folks flashing their coins around distract you from where the real money is to be made.
Depends. Is 200 platinum on the table?
What? Well, I don't know. Talk to Yvonne. Maybe. Platinum. He rolls his eyes.
How old is this kid?
When you were first coming over, you thought he was in his 20s, but he seemed younger and younger the more you spoke with him. And
He's
starting
got, like,
to
that-
think his stubble might be painted on or rubbed on or.
He's got that 2008 Bieber haircut,
Recent.
which has questioning everything.
And like his whole demeanor is just big 12-year-old energy.
Maybe he just hit puberty earlier or something. I don't know.
He has that
no,
kind of.
well, people get beards at 12 sometimes. It happens.
He has a
If
kind
you're
of
a
look
dwarf.
about him. He has a rough look about him.
So he's a scary 12-year-old.
He smells bad.
That's very relative.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, what's Thrasher toting around in his bag again?
A 2-day-old body
And something that keeps vibrating and flashing.
from the sewer.
Yeah, that's like we were all just in a sewer for like an extended period of time, and not a lot of time has passed.
You may want to bathe.
Perhaps we should go conversate with our final contact, since it doesn't seem we're getting anywhere with this lad.
Agreed.
What are you gonna do?
Akiri waves to leave.
To the private booth.
Okay, sure.
Well, when you turn back over towards Vapos sitting in the booth, he's currently got his eyes closed, and there's there's actually a bit of intensity on the candle near the wall, where the candle flame has actually taken the shape of a person, and there's a bit of water vapor, probably from his drink, that is also in the shape of a person, and the two are fighting each other.
Execute Order 66.
Perfect. Well, that's interesting. But we will, or at least Bella will, pull up a chair and say, "Sorry for the wait. Apparently a lot of people needed our attention tonight, but rest assured that you are, as far as I'm concerned, #1 priority."
Also, how on earth did you do that? That was really cool.
I too am interested.
Vapos will smile, and the water vapor will dissipate, and the candle will go back to the candle flame will go back to its usual shape, and he'll just say, It was no problem at all to wait. As for how I did that, it is simply a matter of control. Once you understand the energies that exist within your body, you can learn to externalize them.
Sounds pretty straightforward.
I would be happy to go into more detail at a later time, but for now, perhaps we should get to more pressing business.
Now, we certainly have bigger fish to fry right now. Not literal fish, Thrasher. No fish.
Of course. This matter, I appreciate this level of privacy, but the matter of which we speak is one of great secrecy, and I would prefer not to speak of it in the common tongue. Do any of you speak primordial or the deep speech?
No.
Nope. But
No.
if you still feel that further privacy is necessary, we could always retire upstairs to our quarters.
Oh, wait. Never. Dang it. I didn't prepare tugs this morning.
Also, I could also speak in Vey, if that is more accessible.
It is to me.
I'm afraid I only know Common and Draconic.
Then perhaps it would be best. I simply do not wish to, or I wish for it to be a bit more difficult if anyone is taking any other measures to eavesdrop upon us. Even if they are magical. The organization that you have aligned yourselves against prides itself on its secrecy, and if they know anything about you, it is possible that you are under surveillance.
Indeed. Well, in that case, if you're willing to follow us upstairs, we can cram into one of the rooms that we've taken. And it's a difficult thing to guard against all forms of surveillance, but at least that would prevent some of the more mundane forms of surveillance.
Yes, that will do, I believe.
All right, so I let Clara know that we're going to look for a higher level of secrecy by going upstairs to our rooms, and we all cram into whichever is the largest room. I pull in some chairs from the other bedrooms.
Okay. You guys crowd into one of your rooms at the end, the room that Bella was sharing with one or two roommates.
Akiri.
Yeah, I think that we were bunking together once my other roommate was no longer with the party.
Okay.
You clear the ewer provided and cups and sit around one of the small tables in the room, having pulled chairs from the other rooms, and the whole group is now gathered together. You can still hear the various patrons milling about downstairs. Some of them still, no doubt, eager to talk to you further or talk to you for the first time. And there's some music playing, but you are reasonably certain that no one can hear you.
Scream.
So Vapos is sitting, or he's sitting with very proper posture, but you can tell even in this scenario he's kind of nervous to be talking about this. But he'll just start. So you are already familiar with the letters KOS. I presume that you know what they stand for?
Yep.
We do indeed.
The most straightforward of threatening names I frankly ever heard in my time as a mercenary.
Yes, he is certainly one of the more dangerous masters within the faction. But do you know anything of his associates, his peers?
Very, very little.
I mean, we killed a bunch of them, right?
Well, it depends. I think that those were more his acolytes than his peers.
Fair enough.
But perhaps that is what Vapos is referring to. I don't know. We know very little about the nature of KOS, or what his ultimate goals are or who the allies are that he has. Although we have encountered a fair number of people who appear to serve him.
We do know he has a very silly haircut.
He also,
You have seen him?
yeah.
Unfortunately.
I've only seen an image of him, but they have seen him in person.
Yeah, we killed a dragon with him, and then he stole a paladin.
I see. So you have had more experience with him than just the Phantom Gang.
Yeah.
Well, I am afraid that I cannot speak more to you regarding his motives or his goals, but I do know something of his allies. Have any of you heard of the Netheros?
Oh.
Yes, we have.
He is
huge.
Behold!
Look at that bastard bitch boy.
The Netheros is a I want to say religion, but I suppose it would be more accurate to call them a cult. But there are 4 beings who are worshipped as deities within the Netheros. One of them is Lord Kills on Sight. But there are 3 others, one for each of the 4 elements. Kills on Sight is the Lord of Air.
Okay, sorry. Anyways, continue.
That would explain.
I think that was in game.
That was in game. No, that absolutely was in character.
That makes a lot of sense, given what we faced when we fought the Phantom Gang.
Yeah, and like I saw him flying through the air once really high, and I was really concerned about that because, like, I'm confused because he doesn't have wings. But I guess that makes sense now.
Wait though. He saw us, but we're alive.
That's a good point. He saw it.
Surprising to me as well.
And we saw him. We weren't sure if the kills on sight means kills when we see him or kills when he sees us, or if there's really an important distinction there. But both of those things have happened multiple times, and we've lived through every one, which is encouraging.
Draco looks a little confused and says, I assumed it was just a title for, macho posturing. Is it actually, like, a thing?
Considering the things we've seen, it's a pretty valid option.
He did, sadly, reduce our number, so I suppose it's not completely false as a moniker.
He's actually never killed anybody on sight. His mom just wanted to birth a supervillain, so that's what she did.
We call it the Victor Von Doom syndrome.
He wasn't even there for his birth.
Yeah, anyways, Vepos will continue. Yes, I am quite surprised that you are alive as well. It is, to my knowledge, that he lives up to the name. But I have never seen him or his work in person. But he does have 3 other I suppose the best way to put them is deities that are his equals, and each is associated with another of the elements. The Hollow is associated with the earth. The Defiler is the Lord of Fire, and the Whisperer, my former master, was the Master of Water.
I see. All right. That's very interesting. We I believe we have also encountered some followers of the Hollow, at the very least. Although,
Oh yeah, those guys. That makes sense.
yeah, the rock cult.
Yeah, I don't know for multiple reasons.
But I for a time, we were traveling with someone who had some connections to one of the more notorious actions of your former master, I believe. The destroying of the Dragonborn city.
I'm afraid I cannot speak much to specifics. My knowledge of this pantheon is more religious than historical.
Understood. Well, I thank you for what seems like it must be an extremely big risk in sharing any information with us. I can't imagine the personal sacrifice that it has taken for you to decide to betray such dangerous enemies.
It was not easy, but they betrayed me first.
It would seem to be their nature.
But in any case, if you or if your group is aligned with the Calamity League, and it is possible for us to learn more about this group and to oppose them, then I would appreciate it if I could travel with you for a while. I
Certainly.
don't really have anywhere else to be or to go.
That'd be fun.
It seems like we have a lot of common interests, and we've been trying to get information about the Nethros for some time, so having somebody who knows anything about them will be, and who's willing to share that information, will be extremely helpful.
Typha would like to use shape water to try to move Vapos's hair. Does it work?
Make an attack roll?
An attack roll? Oh no. An 11. She is just so she's not even listening to the conversation. She is so fascinated by him and his watery nature that she can't help herself.
Hey, Vapos, something's been bothering me. I thought this a little while ago that I still haven't quite figured it out. We knew KOS as Lou KOS. Any idea why he called himself that? Is it to sound like more normal, or?
I cannot speak to that. I know nothing of his identity.
Dang it.
I was
Okay.
surprised that you knew of him and had spoken with him. It seems very much against his nature. By everything that I was taught, at least.
Huh. That brings up a really good question then. What on earth was he doing? Wait a second. Maybe the dragon was supposed to kill us. And then when we were dead, he was gonna get. What was her name again? I don't remember. Wow. I'm blanking. The paladin. He was gonna get the paladin and then just like jet, but we survived and we're just like the loose end. So he still hasn't killed us yet, technically. Oh, and maybe okay, Bella. This is probably just a conspiracy theory, but I had a thought. Remember when you and Equitus got ambushed? Maybe that was like on purpose, like it was a hit instead of just like random.
Bella's dealing with, or Kirsten is dealing with Rose at the moment. You may have heard some yelling.
But anyways, that thought stands. I'll tell her about it when she gets back. Anyway,
I'm back.
Oh, hi. So, Bella, remember when you and Equitus got ambushed? That didn't happen very long ago, so you probably still remember it.
Yeah, it's kind of seared into my memory.
Maybe it wasn't just like random. Maybe it was like a hit.
I've been wondering about that.
Sense.
Right. Well, be that as it may, I think that we need to find out more about what Lord KOS's activities have been in this town since I mean, at least we know that he still has connections to the pirates, who, I will remind you, still have my father, and Yvonne has done absolutely crapola in terms of fulfilling that whole aspect of the deal. I mean, she confirmed what we already knew, but she seems to be pretty useless as far as I'm concerned. That's still pretty high on my priority list, you know? And it seems like it might be aligned with the next phase of a few of these other things that we're going for. So maybe with our powers and information combined, we could... Do you think you'd be able to get back in touch with him?
Your dad? I could. Maybe I could try. Do you want me to?
Yeah. I mean, if it would be nice just to know if he's okay.
Okay, I'm gonna do it right now, okay? She's gonna try to get into contact with Bella's dad. And say, hey, it's Akiri again. She's casting sending. Hey, it's Akiri again. Are you still alive? You good? Yeah, Bella wants to know. Okay, thanks, bye. That's it, she ends it.
I will type out a response.
Oh wait, I hear dial tone.
Oh, that's encouraging.
There's a long pause.
So what'd I miss?
I don't know when you left.
We were discussing how silly Lucas's name is.
Oh wow, you missed a lot. More or less, we didn't get much more information on him aside from like who else is a part of the Netheros, which is in game notes.
Thank you.
I told you Vapus worked for
Yes, you told me that.
him. He got betrayed by them. The guys who screwed up Akiri's brother probably worked for the Hollow, which is the Earth Dude.
Interesting.
Good point. And Kira should probably message home and be like, "Hey, how you guys doing? Still good?" So apparently we're celebrities now, Mom, in case you didn't know.
Why do I feel like she's not going to be excited about that?
She'd be like the exact opposite. Like, why?
Max, while you are typing that up, may I roll a insight check on Vapos to see see if I can get a read on how he feels about the Netherose? Like, I don't want to. Instead of just being like, "Is he lying to us?" I want. He's telling us they betrayed him, and that's his dealio. Can I do like a read intention or not read intention? Sorry, an insight check to see like what is his heart? What are his feelings toward the Netherose? Are they genuinely? Is he genuinely like dislikes them because they betrayed him, or is he hiding something from us?
Who are you asking?
I suppose I'm asking you, but I guess it's more Corey that I need to roll against. I don't know how I do that.
You can impose insight.
Right.
You don't really have to roll. So, you would sense that there are. Well, I mean, Corey may not have developed all of this completely yet, partially.
Yeah, I mean, the simple version, because it's not terribly hard to read Vapos in this situation. He's very conflicted and hurt. Like he's been told something his entire life, and just recently seen evidence that things aren't the way that he thought they were.
Well then, buddy, you're gonna fit right in.
Right?
Sounds good. Okay.
Well, I don't know why your dad's always like this, but like, is he always so like cryptic whenever he sends messages? Is this like normal?
She asked her mother that.
I mean, no, but I feel like he's probably really, really bored.
Huh. Yeah, I can imagine. You're just locked up and like with pirates? What are you gonna do?
Write poetry
I wonder
to
if he,
your
like-
daughter's friend.
I guess so. I wonder if he like sits around all day just like perfecting his message just in case we call him. I bet he does.
Practices in the mirror.
It wouldn't surprise me if that was true.
The voice finally returns. You can finally get an answer, Akiri.
Alright. Oh wait.
Not
Oh wait.
alright. Far from light. Fearful tasks brought by masks. I will not bring their awful ends. Captains left, murder said.
He sounded like really tired and kind of in pain. So now I kind of feel bad joking about it.
Gotcha. Okay. I'd really like to find him before.
Yeah. Agreed.
But he responded, so that's good.
Yep, he's still alive. Do we know of anybody, just asking the general group in character, do we know of anybody who uses masks? I feel like we do.
Typha looks at you wearing a skull mask and
No, bad guys.
cocks
You're
her
not
head.
a bad Okay.
Well, the Minotaur dudes, the guys who are,
Oh! What if he's in the thing, the big thing, the pyramid?
that probably should have occurred to me before now.
That's okay. We've all
But,
been real stressed.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That seems like a really good place to keep somebody.
Yep.
Super creepy.
Yep.
Okay,
Full of dead people.
let's find out a little more about that pyramid.
Yeah, I agree. Cool. Let's find out more about the pyramid.
All right.
Let's go talk to Clara first. I feel like she's a good first point of contact.
Okay.
Besides, she likes us.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Clara.
Yeah, she's like guaranteed #1 person to like us right now. And I like her too. She's sweet.
Is there actually an amphibian creature here?
Yeah, that's Vapos.
I think that's also Vapos. That thong though.
Yeah, it turns out there's not a lot of great tokens on Roll20 for Genasi monks that are water
Got
element.
Cool though. Just a little uncomfy.
Yeah.
I mean,
For
it's canon
everyone.
now, so.
I've got a portrait on my character sheet.
He also has these odd bluish gold silk wrappings, like a monk's wrappings.
I actually can't see your shit.
It's not in the list.
Oh, the character sheet. All right. So what are you guys doing?
I guess we're going to talk to Clara.
Yeah, about the pyramid.
All right. You go down. Clara is just mopping up a spilled drink and giving another free round to IOG, Taladar, when mobs attack, and the other commoners, poring over these strange sigils and the copies of the weird messages you discovered on the walls and on the sewer gate console and in the notes of the lair of the Phantom Gang. She smiles as you enter and says, "There's always more people coming in and asking if you'll take on more work. What can I do for you?"
Well, this time it's something that's perhaps a little bit more personal. I mean, as much as we've enjoyed working here, we had our own reasons for coming to town, and it seems like it might be time for us to pursue some of those while they're not, while we're sort of, well, there's just a time limit on them. So.
I don't understand what you're saying.
We need some information about the pyramid. What you know about it, what goes on there, and who we might talk to find out some more inside information.
The Great Ushzak Necropolis. Well, it's the enormous pyramid to the northeast of the city. Very old, predates the city itself, some say. though not the ruins of the Vargos. It's where the dead are buried. The keepers of it are the Rothdal family. And it's a source of their power and prestige. Of course, Duke Rothdal is now ruling the city. You might say that the keepers of that place are the final judges of who is worthy enough to be interred there, although worthy really means wealthy.
Indeed.
Actually, I visited it once. I would have been lost without the Rothdal helpers. It's complex. It's a vast catacomb that fills the pyramid and the earth below it. Some say it stretches for miles on end. I've heard rumors that there's just miles and miles of tunnels with nothing living in the city of the dead, besides the gravekeepers that walk those dark halls. If you
Ominous.
The what?
What?
The what? The what that walk the halls?
The gravekeepers.
Okay, what are those? That sounds really ominous. I have a little...
The gravekeepers are the ones, the organization of the Rothdal family that keeps the Ushzak necropolis. They are a very old, very creepy organization, I suppose. Once they were prominent long ago, and they fell into disfavor amongst the other noble families. They were not in power during the reign of the De La Fontaine royal family. However, more recently, Duke Rothdal came up and took power, and of course now the Rothdal family is ascendant. And here we are, on the verge of civil war.
Right.
But I suppose you might say the Ushzak necropolis is a kind of destination, both for those who would have their family members buried there. By tourists, it's quite a sight. Competes with the Great Bridge and the ruins of the shipwreck of the Vargos. I suppose I know things that a tavern and innkeeper would know, but not too much more than that. I've heard that the fees for the rituals to be buried there can be quite high. But it's done like nowhere else.
Do you know any place where we might find some people who might... I mean, people who would be very familiar with it. Everything you've told has been very helpful and far more information than we've had so far. But just if we were to be a little more interested in the internal operations thereof, I'm not entirely sure who we could ask without seeming like we were taking an undue interest.
Besides the gravekeepers of the Ushzak themselves, and the Rothdal family and their servants, I don't know who would know.
And I suppose that they're all fairly close-lipped and loyal to Lord Rothdahl. I wouldn't expect anything else.
I have no idea. It's not the company I seek out, nor do I get many gravekeepers coming through my inn. But they say it's dark in there. There's a phrase, dark as the halls of Ushzak.
I see. All right, well...
I suppose there are some sailors you might talk to. Those who don't wish to be buried at sea, but some of the more well-known captains might, their families might have them interred in the pyramid and be a source of prestige for them.
That's very interesting. I wouldn't have expected that. But
you could talk to... You could talk to Captain Bernard.
Who's Captain Bernard?
Captain Bernard is a friend. He's come by here a few times. Captain Sutherland to most. Bernard Sutherland is his name. He is the captain of a ship here in port. They run up and down the Thunder Gulf. Doing mostly trade, I would think, with our next town to the north, Waturim. The one guarded by that green dragon. And he seems to do good business. He comes here to pick up chicks.
So it'll be easy to strike up a conversation.
Should be. He may not necessarily gravitate towards speaking of the pyramid, but I do know that he had his brother interred there.
Oh, all right. What were the circumstances? I don't want to step on any toes. I mean, I assume if his brother has passed away and it's a sensitive topic.
Well, his brother was lost at sea, but he had a ceremony done with an empty coffin and interred in the pyramid.
Interesting.
Fell off. I think there was a battle with some sort of sea monster, and his brother fell from the skipjack, which is Bernard's ship. And he's the master of the skipjack, and he was lost.
It's very unfortunate. All right, well, I'm very interested in talking to him, so I'll keep an eye out, but if you happen to notice him come in, if you wouldn't mind pointing us in each other's direction.
I certainly shall. And speaking of such grave matters, if you'll pardon the accidental pun, I have some incense over here, and I've asked for the Undertaker to come by, and we could say some words for Ziklu and Equitas as well, if you wish.
Yes, that That is enormously appreciated.
Frasher, Typha, what say you?
It's not ours ways, but I would like this.
She lights some sticks of incense in the corner. She lays out a piece of paper that happened to have some of Ziklu's handwriting on it. She says, he's coming by to collect the body if you want to do that. But I knew Ziklu a short time. I can't say I knew him well, but his manner of speech and his eagerness to please always brought a smile. I know that your adventurers' lives are difficult and dangerous and often short, and I know that Ziklu gave his life bravely in battle.
Indeed. Well, as I said, I truly appreciate. I think that we would all feel better to take some time to remember him.
And Equitas as well, who was lost to a murder in the street. I hope he's found some kind of peace.
Well,
she lights another stick of incense.
I'm glad that we were finally able to extract justice for that. Where it seemed nobody else was willing to.
That is a good thing. They are having services at the local Temple of Alwolf. So if you wish to attend, you could probably ask them to say something or have Ziklu buried there, or if not buried, his ashes scattered.
Thank you. I'll mention that to everybody else as well.
Very well.
What deity is that? Out of character?
Alwolf, god of family.
Alright, makes sense.
A wolfish, shape-shifting god of family.
So it's a wolf.
Hugrotum Goldhair is a high-level cleric of Alwolf.
That makes sense.
Alrighty.
Alright, you guys. What are you gonna do next?
Well, what time is it?
It's about time to wrap up.
Well, Typha will say her last words to Ziklu.
Oh, you mean what time is it in game?
Like, what time of day?
We're probably going to head into a period where we kind of elide some time. So you guys are going to have some time to recover, deal with Ziklu's passing, get to know Vapos better. You're going to have time to really discuss as a in-game or out-of-game as a party what quest you want to take up. I will say that you will end up talking to a couple of other people with more possible quests of interest for you if you didn't have enough already. But you should but you'll have time to discuss it and or do training and develop some things and maybe get a handle on all the different factions at work in Westhead, or decide to leave it all behind, depending on what you guys want to do. So, what time of day is it? It's whatever time of day and whatever day, in the next week if you want to do something before we close it out here. But I think welcome Vapos, and we are just about. Oh man, I really don't want to stop playing, you guys.
I'd like to quickly point out that Vapos has scales, so technically.
Yeah, I know.
Scaly Squad.
That's actually, he looks a lot like the fish-like people of
Tritons.
who are kind of the second-class citizens.
The token is a very loose interpretation because I couldn't find anything remotely close.
It's pretty good.
Your picture still looks like he's scaled.
He's definitely not. His skin is very smooth.
Okay.
Sorry, he is not a continuation of the Scaly Squad.
Max, would Draco for Draco to go report to me? Would that be something to do in character, or would that be something that can be counted as in-betweeny stuff while we're like in between sessions?
It might be interesting to do it out of session. So maybe we'll chat it up in the in-character chat. And I also know Bella wants to chat with wants to summon forth the bard from her axe and chat with him in character chat too. So we'll see what we can do about that. But she needs to remember his name and stuff in order to do that, I believe. So so we will see. All right, guys. Any last minute things before we close out the session?
I don't think so.
All right.
I just want to say that I'm really excited about this new character, and I think he's going to be a lot of fun to play with you guys.
Is there going to be trouble with Frasher not wanting them to bury or burn Ziklu? How does that go down?
You're gonna have to take that up with the rest of the party.
Oh, I didn't mean them. I meant like the innkeeper lady and the Undertaker.
Oh, they're definitely going to question that.
Imagine there's just a scene of like it's like just a really big like intervention where it's just like Frasher, put it down. Frasher, it's okay, and he's just like snarling or something. It's that one scene in Jurassic World with the Velociraptors.
As much as I like the mental image of that, I really was hoping to make like a cloak or something.
He was not a big fellow.
That's true.
So yeah, you're gonna end up with a lovely kobold skin hat.
I'll take it.
All right. Well, you start working on that in the weeks to come.
Yeah, I mean, I had already updated the character sheet to like, most of Ziklu is not tracked anymore.
Wow. All right, guys. Well played. That was a huge amount of fun. We are going to call it for today. But that was amazing. I had tons of fun. One of those really important interstitial sort of sessions after a major story arc concluded. And I am desperately waiting to find out what you guys will do next. So, and to see what happens with the conundrum, if you guys can solve that puzzle and gain the all-important crown that so many factions are warring for within Westhead. I will say thank you very, very much to N, player of Akiri, to Nico, player of Draco, to Corey, now the player of Vapos, to Matt, player of Frasher, to Lindsay, player of Typha III. Thank you to Bref, to Jeremy, player of Bref, who was here earlier. Thank you to, a very special thank you to Kate, who I guess had to drop out probably because of the kid. But thank you, honey, for taking care of Rose for a large amount of the session and playing and being awesome. Thank you to anyone who came by and watched us. The man with no screen name, thank you for all of the hilarious jokes in chat. I'm sorry I couldn't stop and type a response to each one. Thank you anyone else who came by and watched. And thank you to anyone who watches this later on. It's greatly appreciated, and I'm glad you're enjoying it. Join us in the Discord. Here's the link to discuss with the players and to help solve Commoner's Conundrum number 2, the latest very difficult puzzle. This one's a lot harder, you guys. This one's like an 8 out of 10 as compared to the last 2 out of 10 puzzle. If you solve it, you'll help the players gain a large and important treasure. And anyone who helps is part of the background team in the inn, getting free drinks and food from Clara Swithrana, the owner of the Red Fork Inn and Tavern, the Scarlet Fork Inn and Tavern. All right, Wanderers, thank you so much. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, Commoners.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Good night, guys.
Take care.
Bye.
Have a great week, and we'll hopefully be back next week.
All right.